Well, good morning, everyone. This is Gail Dudley with your quick rundown of the news. This is a special report today, so if you're just joining at whatever time, just replay this to get all the information I'm going to share. I want to start off with Michael Cohen. He has now filed a suit against Attorney General William Barr, because they wanted him to sign an agreement that he would not write a book or tell his story or talk to the media. And that's unheard of. So he has filed a suit. Next up, we talked about Portland yesterday, and we talked about the federal agents going to Chicago later this week. Good morning, Brenda. But I also want to bring to your attention that during the press conference on yesterday, the occupant of the Oval was talking about sending these federal agents to anywhere where there was a Democrat in office. There's something wrong with that. Again, y'all, that is the reasons why we vote. We must vote. That is so important. Again, as you all know, I am in Central Ohio, so I am a resident of the state of Ohio, and this happened yesterday. It was huge. The House Speaker, Larry Householder, was arrested with $60 million bribery case, plus 4 colleagues, by federal officials. That's FBI. Holder is 61 years old. He's a Republican, and he is charged in the alleged racketeering conspiracy involving the funneling of energy company funds through Generation Now. And I'm grabbing this out of the Columbus Dispatch. This is dark money group formed by a longtime associate. So some of the proceeds allegedly were used to back the campaigns of legislative candidates supportive of householders run for speaker. So this is what you call pay to play. So we get paid, we pass some money, we'll play, we'll put you in different positions. The reason why I'm making this a special edition of News in Motion today, this is a great example as to what I've been sharing the last few weeks about voting at every level and having that understanding. Now, before I even go into that piece of it, remember, back about a month and a half ago, this is the same speaker who also wanted to take away the power of Dr. Amy Acton. Thought that was interesting. So this is why we must register to vote. First of all, I have a question, because I was looking at people's news feed, and it's interesting that people had no idea who the House Speaker was in the first place. So we need to understand each of the roles in each of the positions. It's more than just House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. These are speakers in your own state. You need to understand your state government. So Larry Householder, he was the Ohio Speaker, the Ohio House Speaker. Let me be very specific. Okay, so most people didn't even know he exists. So some people are like, well, how did he get in that position? The majority party that goes into these chambers, they get to then vote for who's going to be the speaker. And even that is not easy. That's not simple. We have what you call the whip. The whip goes around and whips up votes for who they want to put in those positions. There's some negotiation, let's be honest. I'll put you on this committee if you vote me in. Now, that's okay to a certain degree, but you can't pay to play. That's illegal. You cannot pay to play. So you have these different categories. So even when you're voting, that's why I talk about knowing who you're voting for. Even when you're voting, you have to ask yourself, okay, if this is the majority party, can this person be the Speaker of the House? What does that look like? Are they going to still be mindful of their constituents and what they promise? So that's the trickle-down effect or the trickle-up effect. And that's why it's so important to vote. Good morning, Kim Hill. Good morning, Beverly. Good morning, Diane. So I want to return to something I've shared before. And I have 3 points. 1, we have to educate ourselves. Educate ourselves, study the landscape as much as possible on the candidates, the politicians, the policies, the politics that are important to you. What's important to you? I think many of us, again, would just go in and vote for someone because we heard their name. Well, what's important to you? What does that look like for you? The second thing, on each level, work to be informed on issues, committees, their platforms, their purpose, and how votes are counted. People talk about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, but here's the truth. She knows how to count those votes. Nancy Pelosi knows how to count the votes. She knows how to count. She knows before she puts a bill on the floor if it's going to pass or not. So, again, you have the majority. Whoever is the majority party, they get to vote for the House Speaker. And it's not that simple. Sometimes there's more than 2 or 3 people running for House Speaker. But you have the whip, and that's a real position. The whip goes around and whips up votes. And they look to see if you have the votes. So again, I'm coming back from the Ohio House Speaker, who is now have been arrested under the FBI for bribery. I'm looking at Nancy Pelosi. Before she puts a bill on the floor, she has counted up those votes. She knows who's standing with her. So even as constituents, as citizens of the United States of America, we need to do that kind of work before we vote. We need to add up, okay, so if I vote for this person, how will this person vote? And we can find that out by looking at their previous voting record. And that is public knowledge, y'all. That is public knowledge. Again, it's not about going in there and clicking a lever, or hitting a button, or hitting an iPad, whatever we use now, or checking off in your mail-in ballot. It's about, let me do some research. Let me do some research. So again, educate yourself, study the landscape as much as possible on candidates, the politicians, the politics, the policies that are important to you. Two, on each level, work to be informed on issues, on committees. Who's chairing which committee? Do you understand the committee that they're chairing? Do they have background to chair that committee? That's important, because the moment you have voted and the moment they get into office, you have every right to go to town hall meetings. You have every right to write letters. You have every right to ask questions. You have that right as a citizen, as a voting citizen. That's why we must register to vote, so that we do have that right to ask those questions. Yeah, you can still ask if you're not registered, but it's not going to bring you much weight. And then know how votes are counted. And then number 3, I said I had 3 points. You want to gain an understanding of the bills that are on the floor. What bill is on the floor that could turn into law? And is that person capable of voting where you are saying, okay, I can follow this? Is that person capable of following through and voting? Here's the other thing we must look at when we are doing our research. How many times have they missed a vote? How many times have they been absent? All of this information is public knowledge, y'all. So again, we had a scandal here still going on in Ohio. I'm a resident of Ohio, that we need to look at, and you can look at that regardless of what state you live in. You can look at that regardless of what state that you live in. These are questions we have to ask before we vote. But in the meantime, I'm asking everyone to register to vote if you have not already registered. So I wrote down these different websites. So grab your pencil and paper. If someone's on here, you want to type it in the comments, that's great. You can go to www.vote.gov, www.vote.gov. You can go to www.iwillvote.com, www.iwillvote.com, www.vote.org, www.vote.org. You're right, Kim Hill, knowledge is power. www.rockthevote.org, www.rockthevote.org. You can even go to Ready Publication, which is www.readypublication.com, and then click on Ready to Vote campaign. Now, I've given you 5 locations: vote.gov, iwillvote.com, vote.org, rockthevote.org, readypublication.com. I will share with you on rockthevote.org and vote.org has plenty of other voting information on there. Plenty of other information. Someone asked a question about provisional ballots. I talked about that 2 weeks ago, but I'll keep talking about it. Keep sending in your questions. those are the last to be counted. So if you go on November the 3rd and there's something wrong with your record, again, these websites that I've given you, you can check your record, and I would check it regularly. They'll say, well, something's wrong, but we can give you a provisional ballot. Understand, you will be the last group of people to be counted, and that is after they vetted you to make sure that you are who you say you are. So even if you have moved, you really don't want to wait until October or November. You want to fix that information now. Don't wait. You want to fix that information now. If you've gotten married, you want to fix that information because they're going to check to see if all of your information lines up with one another. All right, just to recap again, in Portland, Oregon, it is still going strong. Last night, Dad showed up. Dad showed up with snowblowers. Now, we may think that that's funny or whatever, but they showed up with snowblowers to blow away the pepper spray and the different smoke screens and things that were going on. Mom showed up the day before. Last night, Dad showed up. Again, the federal Homeland Security is sending federal agents to Chicago. I don't know what that's going to look like. That may be an all-out war. But we need to ask the question, why are they showing up in unmarked cars in fatigues? Now, I'm going to go a step further. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about that. And what I want to talk about just quickly, just for us to be thinking about, we already have issues with people with human trafficking. So now people show up in unmarked cars and they're in fatigue and they grab somebody off the street. Y'all, this is getting a little messy. So again, we can write into our representatives to ask the question, what are you doing about this? Is this even legal? Because the Attorney General in Oregon is saying that's kidnapping. So she's filed a suit against Homeland Security, Homeland Security about that. So we have to be mindful. So again, this is the time to be writing into your representatives, know who they are. And this is no slam, but there are many people who have no idea who their representatives are. We need to know that information. So with that being said, I want to get to our numbers. Oh yeah, October 5th. October the 5th is the last day to register to vote in the November 3rd election. November the 5th, people. Again, each state may be changing their dates due to the coronavirus and the pandemic, so you want to check your own Secretary of State website. But from what I see, October the 5th is the last day to register to vote to be able to vote in the November 3rd election. Don't wait. You can register to vote today. So here's the numbers. These are the U.S. numbers. And again, I go by, thank you, Kenya, for writing all that down. I go by the World Health Organization. We have 4,025,803 cases, 144,910 deaths. But here's a great number, y'all. Recovered, we have 1,885,028 who have recovered. Now, this is not going to sound good, but I was going through researching all these numbers. And, you know, for a minute there, the CDC stopped reporting, which I don't know what that was about. But the CDC said yesterday that more than 3.8 million coronavirus infections have been reported in the United States. But new data suggests that the actual numbers may be 10 times higher. Wow. May actually be 10 times higher. Wear your mask, practice social distancing, and wash your hands. Please do those 3 things. All right, so y'all know every day I have a win. For the win, I have Taylor for the win. She registered to vote in Ohio. Yay, Taylor, for registering to vote in Ohio. So that got me thinking because I got that note from her mom. If you know that you have been out here talking to people and you know they followed through and they have registered, please turn in their name so we can give them a shout out because this is a big deal now. All you have to do is either inbox me or put their names in the comment section and I will make sure to give them a shout out. Speaking of that, because she's 18, so speaking of that, if you, depending upon your state, again, this is seen in all 50 states and several different countries, depending upon the age, if there's some states that if the person turns 18 before the last day to register to vote, they can still vote and register in the November 3rd election. Or if they turn 18 by November the 3rd, Even though the registration deadline is in October, they can still register to vote. You can find that out on the Secretary of State's office. You can find that information out. So if you know of someone or you have children, they're age 17, but they will be turning 18 on or before November the 3rd, check your Secretary of State's website. They should still be able to register. They have to register though by the deadline so that they can vote on the November 3rd election. So let me know that. All right, here's our inspirational message. I have been given assignments. Last week I gave one assignment. This week I've given another assignment. And this week's assignment is to what? Go ahead and put it in the comment section so as people are scrolling, they can see it. This week you're going to email. You're going to email your friends and family, telling them your story as to why you vote and encouraging them to register to vote and actually vote. In addition to that, take to social media. Do a live video. Tell people your story. Let them know why you are a registered voter. Let them know why you vote, and let them know why you think they should be voting as well. That's our assignment today. That's our assignment for this week. It really is, y'all. We got to do this thing. The other part of the assignment, share this video. If you don't want to do a live video, share this video and put in the description as you're sharing it why they should watch this video. Tag a few people if you need to. People who may have been wrestling with wanting to vote, or they're not, thinking that their vote doesn't matter. Every vote matters. Every vote matters. So with that, I always leave with the inspirational message. And today's inspirational message is to stick with the mission. Stick with the mission. And y'all know I'm a believer, so I'm going to share from 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 15 through 17. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can look at it for yourself. He said, "Listen, King Jehoshaphat, and all who live in Judah and Jerusalem, this is what the Lord says to you. Do not be afraid or discouraged because of this vast army, for the battle is not yours but God's. Tomorrow march down against them. They will be climbing up by the pass of Ziz, and you will find them at the end of a gorge in the desert of Jereel. You will not have to fight this battle. Take up your position, stand firm, and see the deliverance the Lord will give to you." What am I saying? I'm saying stick with the mission. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. You can talk to 50 people. Maybe only one will register to vote. Don't be discouraged about that. You have one. You have won. You have won. That is a win. That is a win. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. You're not going to have to fight this battle. You're not going to have to fight this battle. Yesterday we talked about praying intentionally. Before we talked about not having a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and of sound mind. Look, you don't have to fight this battle, y'all. We are in this thing together. It's not just a common phrase that we're putting together. We are in this thing together. So stick to the mission. Stick to the mission. Here's a transparent moment. I've been thinking, okay, I've been doing this now for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. I'm talking about voting. Are people tired of it? So I'm starting to think, well, do I just stop doing it? I've done it. I've put it out there. I can just send them the video. No, I got to stick to the mission. If one person, like yesterday, Taylor registered to vote in the state of Ohio, one person. If one person makes a move, I have stuck with the mission. So I'm not going anywhere. So listen, I'm Gail Dudley. I try to do this 5 to 7 minutes, and I've gone 15, maybe even 20 now. I don't know. But I gave you content. Hey, Nellie, love you too. I've given you content, y'all. I've given you content. One last thing before I go. I was speaking with the sister friend the other day, Cassandra Talbert. Yes, I'm calling her out. She's doing great things as well. And in our conversation, she said, "Gail, you're doing so much research. You're spending hours going through different pieces of information, trying to give us the information every morning, Monday through Friday." She said, "Just ask for $1." So listen, some of you have asked, how can you help me? You can help me by looking up articles. You can help me by sending me information. You can send it through my DM or text message me or email me. And if you want to see this continue, I'm not going anywhere that I know of. Please consider sending in. If you think $1 a day, that's $5 a week. You can send it to the Cash App, which is MIMToday. M as in Mary, I, M as in Mary, Today, Today. Because I am spending the bulk of my days researching this information, making sure it's factual. With that said, before you share anything on social media, please confirm it. Please confirm it. I have checked 3 different people. And the thing is, if we put out false information, people won't believe the stance that we're taking. Just this morning, I looked up, someone had made a post. I said, that looks doctored. That's not real. This can't be possible. I started researching this at 5 o'clock this morning. It was false. So I didn't call them out on their wall, but I inboxed them and said, this is false information. Here are several sources to let you know this is false. So we have to be mindful not to quickly share. It's a matter of seeing something, saying, okay, let me go and Google this. Y'all, Google is our friend. Let me go Google this to see if this is factual. There's so much false information out there. That's why people are not believing us. So please check your sources before you share that information. Please, it takes seconds to check that out. Seriously, the rate that I'm going with this, send it to me. I'll check it out. And that's why, again, I go back to something Cassandra shared with me the other day. She said, Gail, $1 a day, $5 a week to help you continue to source this information for us. Again, you don't have to, but if you want to partner as we're doing this, moving into November the 3rd, please do. All right, y'all have a great Wednesday. I'm Gail Dudley, and I'm out.